Hunger is one of the most natural feelings a person can experience, but outside factors frequently influence it. Diet culture is one of the most significant disruption to the body's hunger and fullness cues, detecting what, when, and how much people should eat. But everything from work schedule to social events and even clever advertising can impact someone's diet and appetite. The issue is that these outside influences are almost always arbitrary, having nothing to do with what someone is actually feeling or experiencing or what their body needs. Intuitive eating works to reduce the power of all of these factors. The approach to eating encourages people to turn into and respond to their body's natural cues to hunger and fullness, as well as learn to hear what type of food the body is craving at the moment. And the idea is to help people cultivate a healthier and more intimate relationship with food and not feel so much stress or pressure around daily diet. Though this sounds like a common sense approach to eating, it can be deceptively tricky to make the change. However, the principle of intuitive eating can help you learn to let go of outside influences and also learn to hear and listen to the best intentions of your own body, which, to be honest, we ignore those things all the time. We don't listen to our body. We don't even understand what does the body need. You know, when they say listen to your body, someone will ask you, what do you mean by listen to my body? Now, it happens to everybody. Sometimes you eat and your body doesn't accept it. But you know what we always tell ourselves? Oh, but I'm hungry. Or maybe because the hunger, I'm feeling so much hungry. Or maybe it's because I didn't drink water before the food. Or maybe because, oh, you know, we don't get to ask ourselves certain questions. What if this is not what I need? What if is water I need? Maybe it's dehydration, not food that is wrong with me at the moment. You know, all of those things now with ignoring the importance of, you know, eating right. At the end of the day, we tend to, you know, start looking at the dieting, or you say, oh, maybe because I have to cut down on what I eat, I'm adding unnecessary weight because I'm eating too much. And sometimes you ask yourself the same question, but how many times do I even eat in a day? You know, sometimes the body doesn't need food. Sometimes the body just needs water to be hydrated. Sometimes the body needs fiber, it needs calcium, it needs magnesium, vitamins or minerals that are not there in the body. But then, you know, we don't just tend to answer the questions ourselves without even understanding what we need to understand. So today we're going to be looking at the principle of intuitive eating. Why do you have to have that mindset? What are you supposed to do? How do you look at your food? How do you approach eating? How do you approach your food? How do you understand when your body needs something? How do you follow trends? You know, most of the time we tend to follow what is happening in social media or in adverts when they say, this green tea is perfect, it works magic, I was looking this way and later I just trimmed and I'm looking, you know, maybe I was like 120 and now I am 98, and then you are now wondering, oh, this is magic, and you go get that green tea. Another person will come and say, no, it's moringa tea. You see, go for moringa tea. You know, we need to also understand how how our system works, and of course, how do we approach all of this problem. So welcome to another interesting episode here on Launch Global. I am Chung Anamel Joseph, but before we go into the detail of today, let's quickly take a break. We'll return shortly. Welcome back from the short break, and if you're just catching up with us today on Launch Global, we're going to be looking at some of the principles of intuitive eating. Why do you need to be intentional about your food? How do you get to understand if you are having eating disorder or you're normal, or how do you place what to eat, and how do you get to now understand when your body is giving you cues, how to understand your body and all of that. Intuitive eating is an eating-based philosophy often used in eating disorder recovery. It involves learning to recognize and honor the differences between physical and emotional hunger, and of course the approach when it comes to eating with a body first mentality. The principle of intuitive eating helps you work towards an attitude and approach to food that supports your physical and mental health. And we have certain principles of intuitive eating that will help you focus on breaking away from dieting cycle and reaffirming the body's natural cues when it comes to food. And one of those mentality that is so common, you find them in social media, you find them among your friends, when you're chatting with people, when you're complaining about certain things, the first thing that someone would think of is diet. You go on dieting, or you eat this and you do that. Now, how do you lose those kind of mentality? How do you lose that kind of mindset? So first thing today, we're going to be looking at how to lose the diet mentality. Now, the diet culture isn't just pervasive, it's a big business, which everywhere you go you get to hear that. Anything you complain about when it comes to, I'm adding so much fat, I'm eating this and I'm eating that, they'll tell you just diet. Okay, now someone will tell you diet, but then they won't even give you the right thing you're supposed to eat. This one will say, oh, I did this and it worked for me. They'll say, no, I tried to do this, it doesn't work for me. And before you know it, you are confused because you're not even understanding it. So the best thing you need to do is to understand your body. When you understand your body, you understand what works for you, and then you try to bury that diet mentality, you get to understand even better. Now, every year, dozens of weight loss companies, gyms, social medias, influencers, and publications work to convince people that there is only one true body shape or size worth thriving for, generally. A lean and toned one. They say, oh, you have to be slim when you're toned, your body is this, your body is that. And then what about people who are chubby? What about people who are naturally, there are people that is who they are naturally. So no matter how they work out, you can just only do exercises, to build your muscle, to strengthen your bones, tighten up your skin and all of that. But sometimes you would see you work out. Yes, you might lose that weight, you might lose it, yes, but then sometimes it doesn't even show physically. But when you go to the hospital, your doctor, you might even be looking okay, and you're looking, maybe looking so fit, and then you might go to the hospital and they will tell you there's fat in your liver, or there's fat in here, and you need to exercise, you need to cut down on eating certain things. Now, it's not all about how you look. It doesn't matter whether you're slim, or you're looking all toned, or you're chubby. It is all about eating healthy and trying to regulate and be like in check and maintaining the right weight you need, to exist. Because if at the end of the day your weight is too much, you will still find it very difficult to sleep, to rest, to breathe, to do literally everything. And most of the time we get all of these issues from social media, from friends, from gym. They'll tell you, oh, when you wake up in the morning, make sure you only drink water, which for you to be able to build muscle, you need protein. You have to eat a lot of protein: bananas, avocados, boiled eggs, oats. Like, there are a lot of them out there. You need all of these things because you cannot be working to build your body, your muscle, or tighten up your skin and all of that, and then you do not eat well. That's where you lose it at the end of the day. And that achieving this look should be prioritized based on what everyone says, or what the gym says, or what the social media says above all. Now, this sets up several harmful false dichotomies, and these are the one of them is the idea that body can only be the right shape or not, that foods are either good or bad, that people who are in shape are more superior, and those who aren't are undeserving. Now, this mindset is not just wrong, it's potentially dangerous, with numerous studies finding frequent dieting behavior to be one of the strongest indicators of developing an eating disorder. Now, rejecting the diet mentality involves rejecting the idea of should, that you should be eating certain food or not eating certain food, working out more, working out in a specific way, or attempting to reach a certain number of scale. Now, you need to understand that the only thing you need to be intentional about is your health, which is the number one priority. Now, if they say, oh, in a day you have to do jumping jacks like 200, or they'll tell you have to run or walk 30 kilometers, that is what they are saying. That is what everyone is saying. They say that is the right thing. And then you're always doing it just because you want to just meet up with what the society is saying or what the influencers are saying. Are you sure those people that are saying all these things are doing it? That's number one question. So that should problem is always a problem, because you are always thinking of should. Oh, if I don't work out more, or I'm not doing so much. They say baby steps. Whatever you're doing, if you're working out, you don't need to just take your body at once and then you are doing too much. You'll break down. That muscle you're trying to build, you will lose it. Before you know it, you end up finding yourself in the hospital. So baby steps. Whatever you're doing, you do 10 now. Once you are getting used to it, you notice that your body is beginning to, be strong, and then you're able to stand any kind of stress. Your tolerance level has increased. Then you can decide to come up to like 15. Before you know, you are going up to 30. Before you know it, you are doing other exercises. If you're doing maybe 5, you'll be increasing to 6, 7. So in everything you do, baby steps. Letting go of this toxic idea can not only help improve mental health, but also free up mental space to adopt others, more inclusive philosophies such as those involved in intuitive or mindful eating. So you have to try your possible best, cut down on this social media mentality, principled mentality, the gym mentality. The good thing that every professional, doctors, will advise you, dietitians, nutritionists, they will advise you. They won't tell you overdo it, or it has to be in this way, but they will tell you eat well, eat more vegetables, natural food, drink water, stay hydrated, listen to your body, let your food be your medicine. And sometimes that same food can be the reason, the cause of your illness. So at the end of the day, the food can either make you or kill you. So you have to choose for yourself. Do you want the food to make you, or you want the food to kill you? Now, it is a room for you to ask yourself the question, and at the end of the day, give yourself the answer you need, because you have to go for the one that works for you. Another thing is you need to also recognize your hunger cues, which is very important. When hunger calls, try and find something to eat. Most diets are built on a preconceived structure that detects what, when, and how a person can eat. However, many other environmental factors can influence hunger and satiety cues, including only having a specific time to take lunch break, or even seeing advertisement for a certain food or restaurant. This extra guideline also works to cloud the natural feeling we experience around hunger and satiety. And as Pavlov discovered when training his dogs, the effects can be powerful and lasting. Learning to undo environmental influences and recognize your own hunger cues is generally one of the most difficult intuitive eating principles to follow, but it's also one of the most important, as it can help improve the mind-body connection and empower you to literally trust your gut. Working with a nutritionist or using tools like the hunger satiety scale can help you learn how to tune out these pressures and tune into your needs. Some people in eating disorder recovery may have additional concerns, such as not having consistent hunger cue or feeling uncomfortable with ideas like hunger or fullness. And in these cases, it can help to get support from a trained provider to develop a structure around food that will ensure that you are eating enough to meet your need, while working towards feeling more comfortable with listening to your own body. So, advertisement, I think this is, it happens to everybody, including myself. Sometimes we get to see some nice meal, nice burgers, where they're doing, and you're like, oh my God, I just want to eat burger right now, Even when you're not hungry, that at this point, this is not what I need. If I feel like I need to eat proper food, sometimes your body will tell you you need proper food. Sometimes the body will tell you, no, you need to snack on something. There's this feeling that that, okay, the body needs something. Our body always alerts us when we need something. When you are thirsty, you want to drink water, you will know that your body needs water. But sometimes there are people that say, I don't know how to drink water. Water is not my thing. They'll be so dehydrated, but now for them to drink water, they prefer to drink maybe soda or any other thing and that's not what the body needs. Because even when you take all of this, you're just adding much more problems to your body, because that's too much sugar and your blood does not need that. You as a person, you don't need that. When you need water, please go for water. When you need real food, go for food. When it's time to snack responsibly, and make sure you're snacking healthy. Don't just snack because it looks good. This burger, they just advertise this restaurant and they make the nice burger. The way they just did the burger, it looks so yummy. I just want to eat it. And then you just go ahead and just eat randomly. Too much of carbohydrate, it's bad. Because, once that carbohydrate is too much, you don't have to even drink soda or drink too much sugar before it converts. That carbohydrate just turn like when it's too much, it converts automatically to sugar. So imagine you're eating all of this too much all the time. Whatever you do, you have to cut down and try your possible best to work out on, looking at all of this. Sometimes you'll be looking at pictures on social media. You see nice food, or see the way they are making this, and before you know it, that's exactly what you want to eat. So than for you to always go into that, try and look for the ones that are healthy. Then you admire them and you eat them, and they'll be more helpful to you. Now, you also have to make peace with food. There are a lot of people, food is like their enemy. They don't like food. And I think sometimes I'm personally guilty of that. Sometimes I'm like, no, it's not food at all. Like, I just told myself recently that I don't want normal food. Maybe I prefer to go in with fruits and vegetables. I think that is what I want to eat, maybe for maybe a week or thereabout, just because I want to get myself together. Sometimes, eating food can be tiring. That is just the truth. But can we do without eating food? No. Should we not eat food? We should, because it is important too. That food are inherently good or bad is another lesson most people hear from early on in life. While sometimes well-intentioned, wanting a child to eat more vegetables, for instance, the idea is misguided at best and potentially dangerous, feeding into the same mentality that drives diet culture and pathological eating habit. The intuitive eating principle teach that food is neither good nor bad by nature, and you should likewise not feel good or bad about eating certain food. The hope is to encourage people to release their inhibition around food, which can help them lean into their natural hunger and satiety cues and learn to recognize the types of food their body is actually craving. Removing this restriction can lessen obsessive feeling that can develop around certain food consideration which are forbidden. This type of mindset has also been found to help reduce binge eating and related guilt. So, when you are so careful when it comes to making peace with food, now you'll be able to know, okay, this food, there are good food and there are bad food. It depends on your body. Sometimes what somebody eats that is good for him at that moment, when you eat it, is bad for you. So that is what it means to know whether food is good or bad, because it is. You say that they say in life there's everything, there's a do and then there's a don't. Now that is just the other part of it is the good, and the other part of it is the bad. Is you eating the right thing at the wrong time or eating the wrong thing at the right time? So you need to make peace with food. You need to be able to understand, once you understand your body cue and your satiety cues, you are good, because you already understand your body. You understand what your body needs. There are certain things that when you eat, you notice you react to them, and then we call them allergies, right? So at the end of the day, when you realize that, you tend to cut down on it because you don't want to eat something that bothers you. But there are people that even when those things make them sick, they would rather try, because you keep feeling like, okay, it's because I've not been eating it. I think I did that as well. It's not because I've not been eating it, so let me keep trying to eat it. And when you try to eat it, it still lands you into trouble. Now you also need to quit internal criticism. You need to try your possible best to do that. Oftentimes, what we eat or decline to eat is based not on what our body is feeling, but an internalized societal expectation around food and eating. This voice in our heads is sometimes referred to as the food police, as it tells us particular food or eating behavior are good or are bad. This mindset works to moralize food and reinforce rigid diet rule and shame people for eating more than they should have or enjoy food that's supposed to be bad. It can also work as positive reinforcement for disorder eating behavior, like restricting food intake even when feeling physically hungry. Intuitive eating encourages you to chase the food police away and to challenge the false belief that decisions around food make you feel have a good or bad feeling. It makes you feel like, oh, maybe you're a good or a bad person. This may involve identifying internal and external food rules that show up for you and finding way to challenge these rules and belief. And when you get to understand that and chase the food police, now you trust me, you'll be able to eat healthy, and it will help you. Because if you're always trying to like, oh, it has to be this or it has to be that, no, I'm not used to vegetables. There are a lot of people that say vegetables is not my thing, and your body keeps telling you that no, you must not eat vegetable. Meanwhile, you're missing on that. Natural food are the best thing we can ever give ourselves, and then they are the best dishes we can make, and there are a lot of them. God has given us that one in abundance. So you should be intentional when it comes to your food and work on your eating, and then try and be intuitive when it comes to your eating. So I do not have a choice. I have to be putting a stop on this today, or I will have to do that at this moment. But then, we always do this all the time. Encourage you to eat well, to eat healthy, and of course stay hydrated at all time, because one of the major issues that gives headache, challenge when it comes to headache, discomfort, weakness, is dehydration. Even when you go to the hospital, sometimes you feel weak, and when you go to the hospital, they will tell you you lack water, you are dehydrated. So we at all times need to be intentional when it comes to staying hydrated. So I'm going to be putting a stop here today. Thank you for your time with me on Lunch Global. I am still your host, Chunk Annabelle Joseph. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.
Introducing Lunch Global, a culinary journey around the world. Tune in to Global Television with Chong Animal Joseph for a mouth-watering experience like never before. Join in as we explore diverse cuisines, exotic flavors, and exciting recipes from every corner of the globe. Lunch Global.